Episode 126. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? We got Absolute Power #1. We have Destro, and we have Space Ghost. Let's talk about them right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. If you are a board game aficionado, I think I am planning on going to Gen Con in Indianapolis beginning of August. I will make those plans tomorrow and let you guys know if you guys are coming up there. Also, remember to give me a like and a subscribe if you can. I am trying to grow the channel out. And I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning writer, screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer. And if you are interested in anything that I've written in the past, the link will be in the description below where you can check out my Amazon. I'm also on Audible, too, with Destiny Aurora if you're into audiobooks, etc. So I'm kind of all over the place. But I write, sci-fi, fantasy, and then my graphic novels are... I have a graphic novel called Lords of L.A., which is vampires, mob in the 50s, and things like that. Issue 2 is almost done, so I'll be releasing that shortly as well. But let's get into Absolute Power. This is the first full issue. We just had Ground Zero by Mark Waid, which was a amalgam of stories of vignettes that kind of lead up to this. But this is by Mark Waid and Dan Mora. This is the new DC event that's going to be going through several different titles. And, Superman, Batman, etc. are all going to kind of link into this. And this is the story of Amanda Waller wanting to get rid of all the superheroes and getting the Brainiac Queen and Failsafe to do it. In the last Ground Zero one, we saw the Brainiac Queen, who's no longer hungry. Apparently she's on a diet because we've forgotten about that whole storyline already. Everything is very convenient, and I'm going to talk about that here. And then we had... so the Brainiac Queen has now been raised by Amanda Waller, and Failsafe was just repaired. And that's where we jump into this right now. So we start out with... this heist going up and Superman getting in there to stop it. And Superman, stands defiant, knowing that the bullets are not going to hurt him. However, he gets shot and he does plummet to what could be his death. He has no powers, etc. Now, why we don't know at this point, but that's, where the story begins. And then we're seeing Animal Man and Animal Girl or whatever else. And the people losing powers or people are getting attacked, saying that these people are terrorists, etc. So everybody's turning on the superheroes. And Batman and Robin are going, what is going on here? We'll have to intervene here, but we need to assess the situation. So they're calling all the superheroes terrorists. And then they find out that across all of the media... there's videos popping up of the superheroes just randomly killing innocent people. And we have Lois going, we have no idea what's going on here, but we're not going to touch any of this stuff until we can find out if we can verify that the superheroes are in fact killing anyone. And then we find out that Waller is basically deep faking this stuff with the help of the Brainiac Queen. We have seen this before. It was the lead up to Civil War by Marvel, where we had Cannonball, who was shooting a reality show, ends up inadvertently killing a whole bus of people, of kids. And everybody turns on the superheroes, and that's where... this is where it's different than the movie, where they're trying to have the Registration Act, okay? So this reminds me full on of that, where everybody's turning on the superheroes, except here it was true, and here it's being all created by Waller. So here we jump into Waller and her whole plan. which we don't know her full plan yet because we still don't even know why Superman lost his powers. And Batman is saying, look, let's get everybody out into the open where we can get everybody to realize that it's not us. And this is where Superman gets rescued by Superboy, where they see him plummeting and they catch him. And then it's revealed that they have a Mazo, and it's good to see Jade in there. I haven't seen Jade in forever. Suddenly, there's a whole bunch of Amazo robots. Now, if I stand corrected, let me know, but I have never seen Amazo steal powers from people. He duplicates powers, but he doesn't steal them. Not that I've ever seen, unless this now has changed from the original Amazo. So now, according to this, he's stealing powers, and not only is he stealing them, but they don't even get them back. Ever. According to this. So Superman is not going to have any powers anymore, and Batman is kicking himself in the head because he's like, oh, I fell right into her trap by putting everybody out into the open to have the Amazo robots subterfuge them. So, and there's Wonder Woman getting, taken and stuff like that. Now, I don't think, how can you take the powers of the lasso? I have no idea about that. I'm very confused. This is kind of all over the place. And then you had Green Arrow say, I'm with Waller. I didn't collect the recent Green Arrow book because I was over it by Joshua Williamson. But, I think he's a decent writer. I just don't think he gets all that. But anyway, I didn't even go that far with this. I don't really care. But yeah, I'm not liking this already. I know it's gotten a lot of praise so far, but and that's pretty much where it ends, where everybody's powerless, etc. And yeah, I don't like this at all. And then you have Superboy all hooked up to whatever. So again, we've seen this already in Marvel. And now we're just taking everybody's power away. That's the whole crux of this story. What happens when everybody's superpowers taken away, and now we have robots and everybody's superpowers, and it's all controlled by Waller? Oh, I don't know. It's so overdone, man. So overdone. It's not. Sorry, Mark Waid. It's just not original. The artwork is great. I really like that, but the storyline for me is not even, not even hooking me at all. I'll collect the 4 issues, but that's it. Nothing. You're not getting me at all as far as anything else is concerned. Will it make a good movie, a television show? No, it's completely overdone. Completely overdone. All right, so let's go into Destro. This is the first issue coming into this by Dan Waters. Artwork is okay in it. I'm a big Destro fan. He's one of my favorite G.I. Joe characters as far as the villains is concerned. He's my favorite villain. My favorite good guys, which is mostly Scarlet and Stalker are my favorite good guys. And I'm not touching the next Scarlet issue by Kelly Thompson. She can use that as toilet paper as far as I'm concerned. That was a piece of shit. But anyway, so here's the continuation of Destro working with Cobra Commander because he's giving him Energon, and Destro is the Tony Stark of the G.I. Joe universe. He's the one that creates the weapons, and he has these robots that are called bats that are given Energon, and Cobra Commander scolding him for taking over all that stuff, and kind of saying, hey, we were supposed to stay in the shadows, and here you are like taking over stuff. And he's like, man, I don't work for you, bro. Destro is having a sale, like he's running a whole auction for his bats and stuff like that to create havoc, and of course to raise money for himself. And he's like, the twins didn't show up. That's where it was. So the twins don't show up, and they have their names are backwards from one another. So one is called Tomax, the other one's Zamat, because the names are backwards. But anyway, they're here. They showed up late, and they're mercenaries, so they got paid, but their people didn't show up. And he's like, and a bunch of my guys were, because you guys were late, a bunch of my guys now are in the infirmary, And he's like, yeah, it was supposed to be 20%, but you weren't supposed to retreat. You were supposed to keep the line. And he's like, no way. He says, yeah, that's what the general wanted. And you retreated, so you showed weakness. And we could have won that whole thing, but you screwed it up by turning tail. So they send their Crimson Guard in to kill all the guys that are in the infirmary. He said those guys should have died, so we're going to make sure they did. And by the way, the general now just ordered your death as well. But anyway, again, then we have these drones coming in for that were at Destro's auction. And they start dropping bombs. They're like, oh my God, we're under attack, we're under attack. So we have this, this action scene going on. And he saves this woman that was by the pool, I guess, that was at the auction. He's like, oh my God, one of them's a dud. And he's holding this stuff. And I guess we're going to find out who's attacking them in the next issue. I like it. It's not as good as the Duke. I don't know if I was better than Cobra Commander so far. It's better than the beginning of Cobra Commander. Cobra Commander got better as it went. And this one, I like it. I think it's a good start. So let's see what happens. I like that he's already dissenting from Cobra Commander wants. He's a little bit of a warmonger, of course, because he sells arms and that's how he makes his money. So now, would it make a good film or television show? Now, I would love to see, but it has to be a full G.I. Joe. It can't be Destro by himself. They never did a good G.I. Joe movie thus far as live action is concerned. So I'm hoping we can finally get one. All right, so let's jump into Space Ghost. Now, this is from an 80s, I think it was early 80s television show. And we have the superhero who has, I don't know if he's really superpowered by himself. He's got these bands on his arm that have huge buttons. And the buttons made him go invisible, which is why he was called Space Ghost. And, I think he was more of a vigilante. I don't know if he really reported to anyone. But here, he ends up saving these two children that were also in the cartoon. And here they're Blip, I think I keep mixing up with Gleek from the Super Twins there. Monkey here is an experiment that everybody wants. It's like a nano thing, and it's intelligent, and blah, blah, blah. So everybody wants this thing. And that's where it differs from the cartoon, which I think is good. At least we have a reason for the monkey to be in there, and not just be a cute little thing just because it was for kids. But anyway, he ends up making them his sidekick as they look for the people that killed the father and want the monkey, because a whole bunch of bounty hunters are after this thing now. So we start out with this big battle. Now, on the bottom there, it looks like dangerously close to Doctor Strange. I don't know what's going on there. But he does. It looks like Doctor Strange. But anyway, we have them behind the shield, and the kids take off to go as he's blocking them, that they can take their weapons out. And Jan gets a little cocky, and he warns her not to be cocky, and she takes a shot. So she crashes to the ground. Her brother comes and helps her. But then we get a new character here. I don't know if she was in the cartoon. I don't remember her. The Widow comes in, and she has a band on her wrist that controls plants and ends up saving them. And she says, look, I'm saving you because I need your help. I need to get into RoboCore, which is really weird. I think they could have come up with something better than that. Even if that was in the original cartoon, they should have come up with something else. But anyway, I can help you infiltrate RoboCore, and we can get information to take them down. And it's only in all of our best interest, even though we're not friends. Let's take down our common enemy. So with Jan's help, they agree, because she's like, I think we should do this. And she has these infiltration cards here to get in there. Because as you can see from the top, Space Ghost wasn't having it. But he reluctantly agrees that it probably is in their best interest to do so. And then they go to infiltrate this corporation. The artwork is pretty decent. It's a little bit lackluster at times without a whole lot of detail in the faces. But I like the building and the stuff like that, and I like how they're invisible on top and stuff like that. But yeah, so they get inside, but then we get this flashback that she's actually meeting with RoboCorps, the head of the RoboCorps, and he's like, yeah, so this is how you're going to portray them, and they kind of make this whole plan together. So we know halfway through that this is not going to go well. And they split up. Each one of them is going to be use a card to get into the mainframe at the same time. And you can see that Jan and the monkey are with Widow, and Space Ghost is with Jace, the male. So everything is working according to plan. They have this huge blast door, and he just opens it. Tons and tons of steel, and he just holds it open. And they're strained, of course, and his bands are, giving him the strength to do that. I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, so Jan, and right when this conversation happens, it telegraphs the whole ending. And he says, so the band on your arm, or the bracelet, allows you to control the plants. And she says, yes. And, we girls have to stick together. And I know you're the brains of the operation, and blah, blah, blah. And so sure enough, she starts controlling plants and starts attacking them. And when Jan refuses to betray her friends and join Widow, she slaps her. And I knew right there that the bracelet was going to be gone. And sure enough, she stole the bracelet and then attacks the Widow with all of the plants. And she goes, yeah, I was wrong. We shouldn't have trusted her. And they leave her there to get captured. But they do get the information as far as I know. So, really good stuff. Really, obviously some of it was telegraphed because he didn't have enough time to make red herrings or anything like that. I get it. But at least he did take the time to give us that quick little flashback. Rather than coming out of the blue. So I liked it all. And, would it make a good film and television? I would love to see Space Ghost on the big screen, man. That would be awesome. So that would be a yes. Destro is not Destro, but G.I. Joe. And the way they're creating these characters is very good and would translate. But it would need to be a G.I. Joe movie. And then we have my one no for this episode, Absolute Power. I know everybody's liking it, giving it 8s and 9s, and I'm not liking it, man. I'm going to continue it, but the setup it's not getting me. All right, well, that's it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it if you watched all the way to the end. Remember to give me a like and a subscribe if you can. Ring that bell, ding, ding, and let me know what you guys think. Are you guys collecting these? Are you reading any of these? Or are you just kind of keeping up with, what Marvel and DC is doing, which is kind of why I do this, is also for non-readers to see what Marvel and DC and the independents are doing. Because eventually when you do see some of this stuff on the big screen, you're like, I saw that on Frank's channel. So that's kind of why I do this as well. Also, check out some of my other videos that will pop up here at the end. And, check out some of my other books and graphic novels in the description below. And if you're going to be ever at Gen Con, let me know as well. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great week. All right, bye-bye.